Welcome to Charles Evans Cemetery. Look who's here to greet us. None other than Charles himself. He purchased and donated the first 25 acres of land that became this cemetery in 1846. His goal was to create a non-secular place of rest for Reading citizens that was removed from the hustle and bustle of the city. The site sits 1 mile north of Reading's city center, which was, in the mid-19th century, safely rural land. In the 177 years since the cemetery's inception, the city has encroached and expanded far beyond its reaches. Roughly 62,000 people have been interred at Charles Evans over the last 2 centuries. It is the location of some of Reading's most influential, prosperous, and industrious people. I am going to show you a handful of the monuments that their wealth afforded them. Frederick Lauer's Pyramid Crypt is definitely my favorite. Lauer was born in Bavaria and immigrated to America at the age of 12. He became a highly successful beer brewer in Reading between 1847 and 1882. He was also a prominent leader in the industry nationwide. The city's first ever monument was made in his likeness and still stands in City Park. Henry Augustus Muhlenberg was a member of the Muhlenberg family political dynasty. He served as a congressman representing the state of Pennsylvania in the United States Senate and House of Representatives. I don't know what family these belong to, but these were interesting as in their purpose was to be raised beds for flowers. Descendants would quite literally grow plants on their deceased relatives. Augustus V. Heston was clearly a very rich man, but I couldn't quite figure out why. His obituary stated he had come to Reading 25 years prior to his death and lived retired that entire time. He and his wife Carolyn traveled extensively, allegedly to every health resort in the United States. Their residence on a large triangular plot of land at the southeast corner of 13th and Chestnut was apparently a landmark. It's long gone. James C. Reber was involved in business first with his father in a bicycle manufacturing company called Acme Bicycle Works. Then he went on to create Acme Motor Car Company in 1901 with business partners Jacob Nolde and George and John Horst. Charles's vision for the cemetery was that it would also be used as a public recreational space. He wanted people to visit the grounds, picnic, and I suppose frolic amidst the resting places of their deceased ancestors. One of the focal points of recreation was this pavilion, which was the site of band concerts and social gatherings. If you're a subscriber, you probably remember that the other Witch's Hat Pavilion sits atop Neversink Mountain. This one is the original, as it predates Neversink's by 6 years. Check out this optical illusion. If you get easily dizzy or have vertigo issues, you might want to look away, but otherwise keep your gaze in the center at the point in the roof for the duration of this shot. While you're spinning out of control, here is a not-so-fun fact. In 1932, a J. Hayne Mangel took his own life by shooting himself in the head while sitting on a bench inside this pavilion. Mangel was arrested the week leading up to his suicide for charges of larceny and over $150,000 from the Savings and Loan Association in which he was the secretary. William L. de Bourbon was a New Orleans-born colonel who moved to Reading in 1835. He was most well known for the hotel he owned at the southeast corner of 5th and Penn Streets. I love the perspective that these high shots give. They show the contrast between the busy streets just outside the perimeter of the quiet burial lands. Unfortunately, no one seems to be picnicking anymore, but this is a great place for a walk, so if you haven't been, I highly recommend it. I can't help but wonder what they would think of us, what they would think of the fact that I'm filming their resting places with a flying sky camera. And here is Amos Hewitt, buried with both his first and second wives, Henrietta and Lydia. He owned a planing mill near 3rd and Spruce Streets. He was also involved in city council, various trade organizations, and several local lodges. I haven't even scratched the surface of the stories to be told from the lives that these stone monuments represent. The vast majority of them are beyond the realm of research. We will likely never know who they were as humans. The weather-worn and in some cases deteriorating memorials to these now mysterious lives stretch skyward. I find it ironic that in their desire to be remembered, they all ended up drowning each other out in a sea of obelisks. Whether you have a flat stone or one 15 feet tall, the destination is the same. Just ask these Civil War veterans who were buried as paupers in various potter's fields across the county, but were later unearthed and brought here for a more respectful resting place. It's easy for those of us who were born and raised here to overlook how fortunate we are to have this depth of history. Go any further west, and their entire communities are younger than some of our most prominent buildings. Where else can you find a nearly 200-year-old Gothic Revival entranceway? Probably not too many places. I am always attempting to better understand the world our ancestors lived in. More specifically, the role it took in shaping our current reality. I believe that if we can clearly see where we have been, we can have a much better understanding of where we are going.